What's up, my beautiful fashionistas? You're most welcome and always welcome to Yvonne Winifred UG. So today's dress is this halter neck dress. So this is just one of the designs of the halter neckline. It can be gathered, it can have a pleat in the middle, it can be in any way, it can be even deeper than what we are seeing. And if you're interested, let us start the video. So I have this fabric folded into two, and it's what I'm going to be using. So I'm cutting the front first, and I've left some joining allowance at the top of the shoulder line here, and I'm going to take all the measurements from the shoulder line. First, I take half of the armhole measurement and label it there, mark it down. It is 8 inches. After there, I get the bust line at 10 inches and full length at 17 inches. It is 16, but the 1 inch is for the joining allowance to the skirt piece that I'll be using. So I'll be working with a princess dart. So at the shoulder line, instead of marking the usual 8 inches, I'll be marking 9 inches because I have a princess dart. So I mark the same 9 inches at the chest line where the armhole, half of the armhole measurement stopped, then connect a line as you see. So from there, I just mark off the 1 inch shoulder slant, and then what is remaining, I mark its midpoint, and then from that midpoint, I move in by half an inch and then carve out the armhole. So this armhole is just going to aid us as we are making the halter armhole. So the nipple to nipple measurement that I'm working with is 7 inches. Dividing it by 2, I get 3.5 plus half an inch as the joining allowance. Then I mark that 4 inches from the center front to where the 4 inches stop, and then connect kind of a curve to form the princess dart as you see. So that is it, and it shouldn't be too pointy at the bust line where those two lines meet. So for the neckline, I just mark 1 inch as the back depth and 3 inches for the front depth, and the width for both is also 3 inches, and then carve out the necklines like that. So now from this point, I just connect to the shoulder slant. You can even put the half an inch just in case you want to use it, you know, just to show you the full bodies. So now I'm just going to take the measurements of these necklines that I've made. So but remember, at the back we'll be adding 1 inch as the zipper allowance, so I have to put that in mind. So I'll just place my measuring tape like this and then take that measurement for the back armhole and then note it down, because we will be using this to mark to cut our collar. So again, I mark the front one very properly like this, but remember these are on fold, so I'll be multiplying what I'm noting down by 2. So for the front, I have about 5 inches. So you can even go ahead and, you know, correct your measurements, make sure that they are correct. So after that, I just measure off at the front neckline here. I'm just going to take off about 1.5 inches. You can even do 2, you can do 2.5 according to the depth of the armhole that you want to work with. So I'm using 1.5 and I'm going to connect it into the armhole like that, so to form that halter shape. So this is what I do. If you have your curves, please use them, and if you want a straight line also, you can just do straight. So this is what I do. Make sure my curve, this line is not so straight, it's a little bit curved. It's straight and no I just make sure the line is, you know, straight in its curved shape. So I move to the bust line, measure the bust measurement by 4 plus 1 inch for the princess dart and 1 inch as the sewing allowance. and I do the same even at the waistline. Waist measurement, dividing it by 4 plus 1 inch for that, and 1 inch as the seam allowance, and then connect those 2 points up till the armhole, and that is the marking for the front. And we will be using this front to cut out the back pieces. So I can now cut this out shortly so that I cut the back piece. So now I'm folding another piece of fabric like this, making sure I have a zipper allowance at the center back. So I bring my front piece on top of this new folded fabric, as you see, mark out the zipper allowance, and then cut out what is necessary. So that's it. So here I was contemplating, and I just added about 1 inch along that armhole, the new armhole, but it wasn't necessary. Afterwards I had to cut it off. So the princess dart also is cut out like this. So you have to put in mind that the pieces on top, these 2 pieces are for the front, so I label them, and then the remaining 2 pieces are for the back. That is for the side pieces. So now I have my back pieces and I have my front pieces. So I can now split the back into 2 along that zipper allowance like that. So putting these aside, I'll be folding right sides facing each other. This is how it will be like. Pin it down, and I'll be sewing starting from down going up, since I'm using a princess dart. So again, even this one, I'll pin it down. Even the front pieces, pin them down, take them to the sewing machine and sew along the princess dart, right sides facing each other, and that will be all. So this is it after princess darts are taken in, and because of that curve of the princess dart, there is always an excess at the middle piece, and the side pieces are always enough. But if you don't add that 1 inch that I added at the shoulder line, guys, you will always have a shortage when it comes to working with the princess dart. So I think you're seeing now our former markings, like it is not even aligning. So I want to align properly this new armhole that we worked with, like this, as you see, and then bring the front one onto the 2 back pieces, and then cut it out. That excess, that is the line that the allowance that I had added, but I realized it was not necessary actually, because I had added 1 inch already at the shoulder line for the princess dart. But if you don't add it at the shoulder line, you can add it at the allowance before cutting out your pieces. So guys, this is what I have now. My armholes are clear. So to finish up the armholes, I've cut out some bar strips because my fabric is not enough. But if you have enough fabric, please cut some good facing for your dress. So now to cut out the collar, I have this piece that I want to be using, and it's folded into 2, and I'm going to fold it into 2 again like this, because it has to be a little bit heavy so that it stands at the neckline very steadily. So now this is folded into 2. Remember, we have these markings for the front and back. You just add them, and whatever you get, you multiply it by 2, and that is the length of the entire measurement of the collar that we want to use. So you can add 1/4 or 1/2 inch as some more excess So now I'll mark whatever measurement that I have for the collar there, and the width is 2 inches. I'll be taking off half an inch as the joining allowance. You can even make your collar be 2 inches. So this is what the collar will be. It will be folded into two like this. If you want, you can cut 2 pieces separately, but me, I just folded. That's what I have, and I made sure I notched the midpoint of the collar. So now guys, this is it from the inside. I've joined the sides of our top, and this is what I have. So my collar, I just ironed the allowance at the collar of half an inch, and even I'm going to make sure I know where my center front is, the midpoint of the center front. Okay, midpoint of the neckline there, and then I'll pin down this entire collar. Like, I'll just make sure that the top is sandwiched between the 2 pieces of the collar. It is easier like that, and afterwards, after pinning down the collar, I'll attach my skirt piece. It's just a circular piece, a half circle that I'll be adding. So guys, this is it after pinning down my collar by half an inch onto that top piece, and after sewing, this is what we have. Everything is done. So I have a lot of videos talking about circular skirts, circular dresses. If you want them, please check out on my channel. I have a lot of such videos to see how I cut this circular piece. But this is it. I've finished everything. I've attached the zipper, as you see. Everything is in check. So that is the zipper along the collar, very neatly done. I just top stitched the collar after sandwiching the top into that collar. So now this is the front. It is also beautiful. I'm just proud of what I've done, but I realized when it comes to the princess dart, I would have taken it in like half an inch on the either sides of that princess dart. But otherwise, guys, that is it from me today. You can check out my other videos, and I will be seeing you soon.